Welcome to my Dazzle Podcast. Let's get into it. Today is Thursday, and we have a Haunting Adeline Day episode for you guys. Boy, am I excited to get into Haunting Adeline. We are on chapters 6 and 7, right? I believe. Is it 6 and 7? No. 7 and 8. I don't know. We're on something. I believe it's 7 and 8. But yes, we do have Haunting Adeline today. Super excited to get into that. Been waiting a whole week for this episode, and I know you guys have been as well. So without further ado, let's get on into it. First, we have our thread, as we always do. Today's thread is flight attendants. What's the most not safe for work thing that has happened during a flight or off the flight? So let's see what these flight attendants have been dealing with in their crazy lives, all right? I once had a lady in the first row of first class blowing the guy she was with, and they were filming it. All right. I mean, do you say something to that, or do you just kind of let that shit happen and, you know, you just wait until my man's bust his nut? Like, it's like, do you just walk by and, oh, I'm sorry, you guys can't do that? Like, or do you just kind of, glance over like, oh, okay, and you just keep walking? I'd love to know the policy on that. It's like, I mean, they pay a lot of money for first class, so you might as well get your knob slobbed on. And then I know some of the first class flights will have like full on beds, and I know motherfuckers is having sex on them beds. You know what I mean? So it make me kind of think like they don't really say anything. They kind of just, it is what it is. You know what I mean? So I don't know. That is interesting though. All right. I'm an airline mechanic, but my story qualifies, I think. We got an ACARS message from an incoming turn. I quote, "Pax jizzed all over FWD lav." Okay, all right. Apparently, it was all over the sink, mirror, walls, and on the fucking ceiling. It actually got handed off to Contract Fleet Service, and they treated it like a biospill. Aircraft was down for a few hours and then kicked back into service. So some dude jizzed all over the fucking bathroom, pretty much. I don't know what this whole packs over the FWD and all that, I don't know why I don't know why that was relevant. You could have just been like, a dude jizzed all over the fucking bathroom in a plane, man. That's all you had to say. You added all these extra ass details we know nothing about. Like, bro, he jizzed in a fucking airplane, which is crazy to me. My man was like, I'm about to enter the Mile High Club by myself. Oh shit, that is funny. He said, I'm about to enter it by myself. My man's must have been shooting loads though. For it to get all over the sink, the mirror, and the ceiling, my guy, you had to have been shooting loads. Like, damn, son. Man. All right, flight attendants, what's the most NSFW that you've seen on a plane or off? I had a guy vomiting blood like there was no tomorrow. We were in the middle of the Atlantic, so no way to just go forward or to go back, just forward. We tried to help him as much as we can, asked for doctors, none on board. Oxygen was provided, not exactly necessary, but helped calm him down. Eventually, after a while, he stopped. His row looked like a freaking horror movie. Funniest part, he refused ambulance on arrival or any kind of medical assistance upon arrival. What the fuck? Why wouldn't you want the doctors to look at you when you've been throwing up blood, mind you, on a plane? My guy, fuck are you doing? That is shocking. Absolutely shocking. I would hate to be a flight attendant in that moment. I would absolutely hate that. I'd be like, oh, please. I'm not dealing with this. That's not, I would pretend like this was not going on the plane. I'd be like, I don't see anything. I don't know anything. And man, fuck that shit. I don't see nothing. I don't know nothing. I'm invisible too. Nope. God damn, son. All right. Flight attendants, what's the most NSFW thing you've seen on a plane or off a plane? Night flight in a business class where the suits are combined. A couple started going at it with the blankets on top of them. They thought they were being coy, but the loud "I'm coming" gave it away. Another one was the lavatory in the midsection of economy class, where a couple figured out the toilets on both sides of the aisles had a split door in the middle, and they managed to unlock it. The plane was really quiet until we heard a rhythmic bang against the wall that gave them away. Hey, man, my man was like, I'm finna bust. He was just like, fuck this shit, bro. He was like, I've been holding it in this whole time. He was like, ain't no way. I'm about to bust, baby. That shit was, oh my God. Like, we already know you fucking. You might as well. And he probably knew that too. He was just like, man, we ain't being slick. Like, get the fuck out of here. We ain't being slick. He's like, I'm gonna let everybody know I'm finna come up in this chick. Like, god damn, man. That shit is crazy. Oh. Alright, flight attendants. What is the most NSFW seen on and off her plane? All right, my ex-girlfriend was a flight attendant. One passenger was hitting on her throughout the flight. Somewhere before landing, he went to the lavatory and left a line of Coke for her on the sink and told her, I left you a present inside. She didn't do it. Yo, that's crazy. What the? Like, how the fuck did you even get that on the plane, bro? You know, like, that's some doo-doo Coke. He had that up his butt. There's no way. There's no way my man stashed that anywhere else but his coin purse. That man had it up his booty hole, and he was just like, hey, baby, you know, I left you a little doo-doo present in there. You know what I mean? And she probably knew that. That's probably, and then on top of that, she's like, I'm not about to do that, you know, at work. But I'm sure she knew, like, how he got that on the plane. Let's be honest. She was just like, doo-doo Coke. You know what I mean? Hey, god damn. All right, if you want an interesting flight story, look up how Andre the Giant used to fly internationally. The man was too big for a seat, so he would have to book a whole row. On long flights overseas, he would never use the bathroom at some point, but he was too big to fit in the bathrooms. Flight attendants had to put up a curtain to give him a bucket to use. Oh, and all throughout a flight, he will have probably drank a whole case of beer. Damn, that's crazy. To be that big, bro. You know what I mean? Just being that big inside of a plane alone, nah. Oh, God, I couldn't do it. And it sucks because it's like, how would you travel? How would you get places? You know, like, you gotta fly. It's the fastest way to do it. Sure, you can drive, but I mean, you know, there's only certain places you can really drive to. You can't drive everywhere. Being that big in a plane, there's no way, man. I would feel so claustrophobic, man. God damn, no. I couldn't do it. I could not be in a plane, especially like for, you know, maybe 5, 6, 7 hours. Oh, God. And then like a 10-hour plus flight would be killer if you're that tall. Oh, my God. To need a whole row is wild, though. That is absolutely wild. All right, not a flight attendant, but an aircraft mechanic. A flight from LA was my next workload. I worked inside the cabin. All of the passengers disembarked except for one who rushed into the lavatory, locking herself up. The authorities boarded the aircraft to talk to that person. Thinking she was a threat, I was on the ramp ready to board the aircraft, and I saw authorities now with the girl taken into custody, but she is followed by a lengthy roll of tissue paper behind her. Now when our crew chief gave us the go signal, we boarded the aircraft and found a trail of blood stains into the carpet. I asked my crew chief, and he told me the woman was having a menstrual overflow. The aircraft was like a crime scene with the blood all over the carpet, the seats, and the lavatory. Oh, that poor thing. And they thought she was a criminal. That's the worst part about it. And she's just like, no, I just have a heavy flow. I got a wide set vagina, you know. Oh my god. Yeah, 2 points if you know where that's for that movie, what movie that's from. But they thought she was a criminal, and she was just like, nah, I'm just bleeding. I'm on my fucking period, man. That sucks, dude. Oh, that absolutely sucks. I would hate to be the one that had to clean that up, though. Oh, man. Imagine having to be the dude to clean that up. I'd be so pissed. All right. Ex-cabin crew here. Years ago, I did a trip to Bangkok with 4 flight crew, and coincidentally, 2 of the first officers were husband and wife. After a booze night out with the crew, the husband and wife ended up having a threesome with one of the cabin crew. I didn't find out on the trip. I found out about 3 or 4 weeks later as I flew with the same girl to Atlanta, who then told me the story. She actually found out she was pregnant on the Atlanta trip. With whose baby, though? Uh-oh. You know what I mean? Like, whose baby was it? Because I'm sure they both, skeet-a-leated in her. You know what I mean? It's like, uh-oh. Oh, shit. That's tough. All right, I work as a flight nurse, air ambulance. We once picked up a really drunk kid from a remote wilderness location who has experienced shallow breathing and hypoxia. We load him up, apply oxygen, and take off, all while the kid is sleeping. He didn't realize where he was and must have thought he was at home in his bed asleep. Halfway through our flight, the hospital, still half asleep/drunk, pulls down his pants and starts jerking off while we're 3,000 feet in the air. My partner tries to stop him, which wakes the kid up. This didn't seem to deter him, though. He continued to crank it with one hand while he was trying to rub my partner's, a dude's, nipple with his free hand. I'm laughing hysterically, giving the play-by-play to the pilot, who starts laughing so hard we begin to fly sideways. The doctor at the receiving facility was not impressed. This motherfucker, yeah, that's crazy. He's over here just delirious and shit. He's like, oh, fuck. Yeah, I should be home, man. God damn. And he starts just beating his meat just out of nowhere. They're like, yo, hold up. And he's just like, oh, damn, hey, girl. What's up? Oh, God. I'm surprised that, the pilot didn't laugh hard enough to crash that fucking helicopter. That'd be crazy. Dude, that's wild. Absolutely wild. Dude just decided, yeah, I'm just going to beat my fucking meat right now. Why not? I'm at home, right? I'm laying somewhere comfortable, so I should be good. And you know what I mean? And then on top of that, like, when they stop him, he, like, wakes up and he's conscious. He's conscious to some degree, and he's just like, fuck it. Fuck it. And got to go through with it, my boy. Like, damn. All right. Not a stewardess, but a family member is a district attorney who is in charge of prosecuting crimes at a major airport in California. So all these videos you see of people losing their shit at the gate or on the plane, she has to deal with. The absolute worst I heard was a guy on a flight from Las Vegas to LAX. For those that don't know, it's an hour flight tops. Guy sitting in the last row near the bathroom in the last 15 minutes of the flight, or whatever reason, he just whips out he whips his dick out and starts going to town on it. They land the plane, evacuate everyone, and wait for the airport police to take him out. He just strolls out 5 minutes later, wondering what the commotion was about, and promptly arrested. Turned out the guy was mentally ill. For whatever reason, he decided to take an Ambient before an hour-long flight, had no recollection of getting on the plane, and eventually came to in the back of the police car. Guy was absolutely distraught and horrified. No past criminal history, just took the wrong pill at the wrong time. I think he did some community service and got everything expunged. Bro, what the... I understand taking something to calm you down on a plane. I remember my first time being on like a overnight, I guess like a red-eye flight is what they call it. And I needed something to go to sleep. It was so hard for me to go to sleep. I was like, I need to take something to go to sleep. But it was one of those things where like, I think I took a sleeping aid, but I think it was too strong, or I might have took too much of it. I don't know. Just because I was so frustrated on the flight. Like, it was one of those things where it was an 11-hour flight, and then I already spent 3 hours trying to go to sleep, but could not go to sleep. And that just frustrates you because you're in this chair and it's not that comfortable, and you're kind of just like, ah. And so I just took, a bunch, and then I didn't realize like we had landed and everybody had left and got up, and I'm still passed fuck out. And the attendants, one of the flight attendants thought I died because apparently like I was just unresponsive. And then the second flight attendant, she thought I needed medical attention, so then she got a marshal, and then the marshal went and got like an EMT or somebody. They look like an EMT. I don't know exactly what they were, but they had like the blue get up on, and they had a bag and stuff, and they put like smelling salts, and they did like this little prick thing on my arm to kind of wake me up. And then I woke up and I was just freaking out, and I'm like, why is everybody around me? What happened? And they're like, oh my God, you're alive. Oh, we thought, you died or something, or we thought something happened to you. And I was just like, no, I was asleep. What happened? And they're like, we're here. The flight is over. Like, and I was like, oh shit. Okay. All right, I'm so glad I didn't get like arrested or anything, but I mean, it was just one of those things where I was like, but I understand like when you're getting on a plane, a lot of times like you just need something to kind of take the edge off, or something to just help you get through it, if I'm being real with you. And so, yeah, but I'm glad I didn't get arrested like this dude did. It, like, I don't know how you forget you're on a plane. You know what I mean? Like, don't get me wrong, I fell asleep, and when I woke up, like, I knew I was on a plane. I just didn't know why there was, 3 flight attendants, an air marshal, and an EMT guy, next to me. I just didn't understand what that was all about. I thought I did something wrong, and I'm just like, I was just sleeping the whole time. You know what I mean? But, I wasn't pulling my pants off and jerking my meat. Like, what the fuck? Because I think I'm at home or something. I really don't understand that thought process of it, where he's just like, I get it, an Ambient kind of like cools you out and makes you chill and mellow, but like, to think you're at home and you forgot you're on a plane and you just start beating your meat, like, bro, what the fuck? And then my thing is like, even with the kid in the helicopter, what are you beating your meat to? Like, did you just whip out your phone, or are you just going off the spank bank? Are you staring at something? Like, I gotta know, because for me, I gotta be looking at something, I gotta be watching something in order to beat my meat, man. I can't just off the top of the dome just start beating my meat. Like, I can't do that. I know some dudes, I guess they could just do that. All right, flight attendants, what's the most NSFW seen on or off a plane? My mate's wife is an attendant for a large carrier and tells us the time almost all staff got PTSD because half the plane shat all over the place, that the in-flight meal they served on a 19-hour flight gave everyone gastro food poisoning. So severe, it took less than 25 minutes for the first person to run to the toilet in abject horror. It was that scene from Bridesmaids on a plane. Oh, you mean the scene where they're trying on the dress and all the girls are just doo-dooing all over each other? Oh, no. And then she's in the middle of the street and she's just doo-dooing. Yo, imagine that on a plane, but like 10x the people. Oh, bruh. That would be terrible. And I've had airplane food. Airplane food tastes like fucking nothing. It's like probably the worst food you've ever tasted. I've never had like first class food. I'm sure the first class stuff is pretty good. But, you know, I've the highest tier of like flight I've ever been on is business class. And that was okay, but I wasn't on that flight for very long. That was just a 3-hour flight, so it wasn't like, I don't really count that one. You know what I mean? Like if you're gonna fly like for first class or like business or anything like that, you know what I mean? You kind of want to fly. You want to be on a long flight, yeah. But I don't know, like. I thank God I've never had to experience that. God damn, imagine being on a plane. And mind you, on a plane, there's like 3 bathrooms tops. You know what I mean? There's like 3 bathrooms tops. And then a lot of times, you know, some of the toilets clog up super easily. A lot of the toilets are like, they have like real weird, what is it called? It's not like, I don't want to say like a cool down, but you can't like rapidly flush them. You know what I mean? You can't flush it and then wait for it to cycle and then you can flush it again. It takes a while before it to be able to flush again. And, you know, that can be bad. Yeah. Yeah, because like the doo-doo will be flushed, but you can still smell the doo-doo, and it's like, oh man, you know. And then sometimes like it doesn't flush all the way, and so then there's still doo-doo in there. Yeah, I've had that happen. Oh, it was all bad. But yeah, but imagine everybody on the plane having diarrhea all at the same time. Oh, I wonder if anybody like tried to sue or, you know what I mean? They try to get money out of that because, dude. Woo! I don't know. I feel like I'd have to do something. I'd be like distress. You know what I mean? I got PTSD. Like, there ain't no way I'm ever eating airplane food ever again after I just done filled my britches up with doo-doo. Like, nah, bro. Nah. That's crazy. All right, flight attendants, what's the most NSFW seen on or off a plane? Not a flight attendant, but looking for the right ones to apologize. In like 2011 or 2012, I was a child flying unaccompanied on a JetBlue flight from JFK to O'Hare, and I absolutely shit my pants fucking everywhere right outside the bathroom. We were like 5th on the runway leaving JFK, and I really had to go and was told I couldn't until we were in the air. Once we were, you walked back there, and just before I got there, the man in the seat right by the bathroom got up and went in. I waited, and when he came out, he tapped me on the belly. He tapped me on the belly and said, "All yours," which prompted me to empty myself all over. I was wearing shorts. Damn. That's gotta suck. And then, his parents aren't there. He's unaccompanied, so it's like the flight attendant's got to take care of that. They got to help him out with all that. Like, he's got to wash his underwear and stuff in the sink, and I got to get paper towels and scoop the doo-doo out. Oh, that's got to suck. Oh, that's absolutely got to suck. And the flight hasn't even started yet, and you doo-dooed on yourself. That's the worst part about this story, is that the flight hasn't started yet. He said, we haven't even left the tarmac, and I've done doo-dooed on myself. Oh, bro, that would be the longest flight of your life. Even if it's just like an hour long, it would still feel like the longest flight of your life. Sitting down in wet underwear, because you done doo-dooed all over yourself. Like, damn, man. Absolutely horrible. Okay, not a flight attendant, but it was still NSFW. I sat in the last row of a flight from Bangkok to Helsinki. I was sitting on the right, on the right 2 seats with my girlfriend, and the aisle to my left. In our 4 seats in the middle of the row was just one guy in his 40s, I guess. He started talking to us. I immediately felt a bit uncomfortable. He asked if he could use my phone to browse the internet or or that I ordered alcohol and he soda of my choice and we swapped it. I declined everything and he tried to ignore it. The flight took off, and maybe an hour and a half into the flight, I took to my left and didn't realize what I saw in the first moment. The guy was laying down on all four middle seats in a weird position, like a woman on a gynecologist chair, but with his pants down. I looked right at his penis and butthole, and it was a bit disturbing. This man, he got a full view of it all. God damn. I was calling the flight attendant and told her to please turn left and look at the guy, and she was in disbelief. She went back to the others and came with reinforcements to talk to the guy. Afterwards, he was not making any trouble anymore, and the flight attendant later told us that he got kicked out of Thailand and had to fly this guy home to his homeland. That was a wild flight. Yo, people, well, okay, dudes jerk off on the plane a lot more than you think. That is wild to me, man. This is like, what, the fourth fucking jerk off story we've had on a goddamn plane? My guy, I did not know that meat beating was so common on airplanes. Flight attendants must see a lot of fucking penis, man. Just imagine you are a flight attendant for, let's just say, 10 years. The amount of penises that you have probably seen on an airplane. Sure, it's not every day, but you will get those days. I mean, in a span of 10 years, you at least probably see 3 penises a year. You know what I mean? At least 3. That's 30 penises in a year. Like, you know what I mean? Think about it, though. You know? That's a lot. That's 30 penises in 10 years, you know? That's your whole career. And you've spent that whole time, you know, and you just constantly finding dudes jerking they meat on a plane. That's wild to me. It is absolutely wild how often that happens. I didn't think that it happens that often. I would think, sure, maybe once in a blue moon, but goddamn, there's a lot of stories where dudes are just jerking their meat on fucking airplanes. That is crazy to me. Oh, shit. All right, this is going to be our last one for this one. Flight attendant here, tons of NSFW stories, but recently one that sticks out in my mind right now is flying to Orlando, and many different passengers start to complain about airdropped photos onto their in their children's devices. We see these photos, and it is of a guy's meat and potatoes in varying levels of exposure and arousal. We, the flight attendants, do some detective work with our own airdrop capable devices, and we're able to figure out the one who's sending them. We bring him to the galley and confront him about it and ask for his ID. He doesn't have any ID. Why doesn't he have any ID on him? He's a 15-year-old boy, so we get his dad involved, and of course, it's, I can't believe you would do this, but also brushing it off like it's no big deal. We land in Orlando and have police meet the aircraft. Friends at the airport later tell me the airport police let the kid off with a warning because it didn't happen at the airport, so they can't charge him, even though there were 10 plus families waiting in the gate area after deplaning to give statements. Fuck the lazy airport police. That's crazy. He was just like, yeah, check out my print. Yeah, let me get this bottle of water up next to it. Yeah, you know, like, bro. And then they let him go. Crazy enough, they let him go. Oh man, if I had a child and say my child was, you know, on an iPad or something like that, and that came in, and then, you know, my kid saw that, yeah, no, I'm sorry, I would sock that kid in the mouth. You know what I mean? I would deal with the dad, because I know he's going to be like, what the fuck, why'd you hit my son? I'm like, because he sent his fucking dick picture to my daughter. Like, who the fuck does he think he is? You know what I mean? Like, nah, he's going to have to deal with some punishment. Come on, man. That's crazy. Just be sending your dick picture to everybody on the plane. Like, don't get me wrong, that's funny, but it's like, at the same time, dude, you can't be doing that shit. Man, he got lucky and he got off with a warning, because woo, that could have been bad for you, bro. Because I want to say if he was probably over 18, they would have charged him. You know what I mean? I think because he was a minor, they probably were like, it's not really worth it. I think if he was over 18, they definitely would have got him. But hey, it is what it is, man. That's going to go ahead and be today's thread. Hope you guys enjoyed that thread. I know I did, and I learned something new, that dudes beat their meat on planes. That's crazy, because all the planes that I've ever been on, maybe there was a dude beating his meat, and I didn't even know. That could have happened. I've been on a lot of planes in my life, and not once have I ever thought to beat my meat on a plane. I never thought to do that. I think that's just so wild, and I think that's so weird, But hey, it is what it is. You learn something new every day. And like I said on a previous episode, man, this podcast teaches me so much shit. And it's crazy how much I get taught by you guys in these threads and in you guys' stories and shit like that. It's absolutely wild to me. But without further ado, though, we're going to go ahead and get into, I was going to say A Court of Thorns and Roses. Haunting Adeline. We're going to be doing chapters 7 and 8 today. So let's hop on into that. I'm going to move you guys on over. Here.
Chapter 7. The Diamond. You bring product into my house looking like this? A woman hisses sharply, drawing my eyes up. I'm standing with my back turned to a dirty, full-length mirror, head cocked over my shoulder and my shirt raised up as I observe the stitches on my back. Massive bruises mottle my skin, turning it into an ugly color. Clearing my throat, I let my oversized, dingy shirt drop and turn to meet her gaze head-on. In front of me is a beautiful woman. Her face caked in makeup and skin doused in citrus perfume. A tight dress clings to her curves, and a pair of strappy heels give her Amazonian height. Her outfit is not fit for this weather, but she looks as if she could walk through a blizzard barefoot and not bat an eye. She only appears to be in her mid-30s, and while she's beautiful, she looks tired, weathered. Walking alongside the devil will do that to you. This must be Francesca. And right now, she's glaring at me, shooting daggers from her golden brown eyes. Shit. Here we go. Rio shifts uncomfortably, but doesn't respond to her outraged question, and that small action tells me a lot. If you don't have a valid reason for your mistake, keep your mouth shut. Maybe even if you do, still keep it shut. Her eyes narrow and trail down my body as she walks toward me, checking me out, determining how much money I could make her, most likely. I'm grateful Rio found some clothes from another girl's room and that I'm not wearing the hospital gown anymore. I imagine her reaction would be far worse than it is now. She stands before me, her strong perfume tickling my nose. I keep silent, watching her pinch the dirty white shirt and lift it up. Her stare sharpens as she spots the ugly bruises coloring my torso. They're everywhere, and I have a sickening feeling she's going to make it her mission to find every single one. She then circles me, a sharp gasp piercing the still air when she spots the 2 large gashes on my back. "What did you do to her?" she snarls. Rio keeps his eyes down on his black boots, specks of dried blood still on them.
"Car accident,"
he answers shortly. "Stupid. This is going to take weeks to heal. When can the stitches come out?" He finally looks up, his dark brown eyes swirling with hate, yet an apologetic expression on his face. It's manufactured just for Francesca. He's not fucking sorry at all.
"Dr. Garrison said 4 to 6 weeks.
She hisses and lets the shirt drop, circling back around to face me. "Is she on birth control?" My brows furrow and I frown, wondering why she's asking him and how the hell Rio would even know that.
"Garrison said she has the IUD.
Tears begin to build, and it takes effort to keep them at bay. It makes me want to vomit that I was violated like that. I had no idea he checked, which means he did it while I was unconscious. She hums, pleased by that, and finally addresses me directly. "Do you know who I am?" It takes a few seconds to rein my emotions in, but I manage to swallow them down enough to answer her. "Francesca," I say confidently, inserting as much volume in my voice as possible. She doesn't present herself as the type of person who'd appreciate mumbling. That's the good thing about being a writer, I suppose. I've built and crafted so many imaginary personalities that it doesn't take much to figure out the ones in real life. Francesca here has no patience and doesn't tolerate insolence, laziness, or weakness. She exudes strength, and that's what she expects in return, not to be confused with defiance, of course. She pops a manicured eyebrow up her forehead. "Yes," she says. "That's my name. But that's not what I asked you." Frowning, my brows knit, unsure how to respond. Before I can figure it out, her long acrylic nails pinch my cheeks. I inhale sharply, the talons digging into my skin as she pulls my face into hers. A calm but menacing expression on her face. "I am your madam. You will not speak, act, or even think without my permission first. You understand me?" "Yes," I whisper, though the sound comes out garbled between my pinched lips. She pushes my face away harshly, causing me to lose my footing and land on my ass. A puff of air escapes me from the impact, followed by a whimper, and I screw my eyes shut as pain rackets up my spine. These assholes don't want the product bruised and bloody, yet can't keep their goddamn hands off me. Makes a whole lot of fucking sense. I don't need to be an expert in the skin trade to know that no one wants to eat a bruised apple. They want nice, shiny apples to sink their teeth into and rip apart themselves, piece by piece. Francesca sniffs, peering down at me with disdain. Blowing out a slow breath, I meet her stare, working hard to keep even a hint of anger out of my eyes. "Obedience is the number one thing I ask of you. I personally don't like to administer drugs to keep the girls compliant. I like my girls lucid and in control, as it makes for a better experience for our buyers. No one wants a drug-addicted whore who can barely keep her eyes straight and fist a cock properly. That means if you disobey me or fail to do as I instruct, you will be punished. Understood?" I drop my eyes before she can see the emotion spit from them like grease in a hot skillet. Swallowing down the rock in my throat, I choke out, "Yes, ma'am." She makes a sound of aversion. "Oh, never call me that. Reminds me of my mother," she snaps, muttering the last part. "How would you like me to address you?" I ask, finding the courage to look up and meet her eyes once more. "I know what I'd like to fucking call the evil bitch." Rio chortles from the doorway but sobers when Francesca shoots a pointed look over her shoulder. She trains her narrowed gaze on me, seeming to contemplate something. "Just call me Francesca," she responds. "Rio here is going to implant a tracking device and tattoo your slave ID. Everyone gets one, and they will only be covered once you have your master." My heart shrivels and dies the moment she mentions a tracking device. I'm not sure why I'm surprised, but it sends a fresh dose of panic into my bloodstream, twisting my gut painfully. Tears begin to burn the backs of my eyes, the hopelessness deepening. "Yes, Francesca," I force out, my back hunching from the emotions circulating throughout my body, so potent that they nearly disintegrate my spine and send me crumbling to the floor at her feet. As temporary as it is, she appears pleased and heads for the door, pausing to look Rio in the eyes and order, "Keep her sedated. We'll let her heal for a week before she's required to acclimate in the house and begin her lessons. You broke her, you fix her, so she will be your responsibility until further notice." His lips tighten, but he nods. Despite the fact that I was just told I'm going to be tagged like cattle, there's a pinch of relief circulating throughout my body. The second she disappears, firmly shutting the door behind her, I get up as quickly as my broken body can handle and shuffle towards the bed, flopping down on it. An angel and a devil rest on my shoulders, the soft one coaxing me to curl in a ball so I can shatter into tiny pieces, while the other yells at me to keep fighting, to not break down like all hope is lost. "Keep it together, little mouse. You'll survive this. You will." Steeling my spine, I force the tears back. I have at least a week before I'm thrust into the thick of what it truly means to be human trafficked. A week to be ignorant of the horrid things they do to girls here. Rio grabs a black bag from atop the dresser next to me. I had noticed it when I first entered the room, and since then I've treated it like a bag full of snakes. Seems I wasn't far off in thinking so. The bite of a python would feel no different than being permanently branded. Holding my breath, I eye him closely as he approaches me, his weight compressing the edge of the lumpy mattress. Slowly he unzips it, the sound tearing through my nerves as it does the bag. Next, he pulls out a small tattoo gun, ink and what looks similar to a piercing gun, but not.
Tracker first,
he announces, holding up the torture device. He grabs a tiny microchip from the bag, inserts it into the gun, and then twirls his finger, signaling for me to turn. Apprehensively, I face away from him, shivering when I feel his fingers brush across the nape of my neck as he gathers my hair to the side.
It'll hurt,
he warns a second before a sharp stabbing pain pierces my neck. I yelp, wincing, 2 seconds away from whirling around and slapping the shit out of him. My vision blurs with tears, but I can't tell if it's from the pain or because I have a tracking device inside my body. I turn back around, shooting him a nasty look to cover up the fact that I'm on the verge of crying. He ignores it, opening a new needle and preparing for the tattoo. Where's this one going?
On the wrist.
I rear back when he lifts his hands toward my arm, attempting to stall. Do you do this often?
Yes. Now how about you make this as painless as possible for both of us and let me see that pretty little hand.
Tightening my lips, I don't resist when he grasps my wrist in a surprisingly gentle hold, coaxing me to lie my arm on his jean-clad thigh. Tears settle in along the ridge of my lids as the buzz of the tattoo gun vibrates against my flesh, followed by the bite of the needle. Did you do your own tattoos? I ask, though I don't really care. I'm searching for anything to distract me from what he's doing.
No,
he answers shortly. How many do you have? He glances at me.
A lot.
This is my first one, I whisper. Do any of yours mean anything? Another glance, this one saturated with a little more irritation.
Some do,
he concedes. I stay quiet for a beat. But none of them are brands, are they? This time when he looks at me, the emotion in his gaze is indecipherable. He doesn't respond, and I take that for an answer in itself. The tattoo only takes a few minutes, though I'm sure his lines are uneven from my trembling. When he finishes, the first tear falls, and I quickly swat it away. If he notices, he doesn't make it known. Packing up his tools, he straightens and stares down at me. I can't read the emotion in his eyes, but I don't think I care to anyway. How are you going to sedate me? I ask, picking at a loose thread on the army green blanket. My neck and wrist burn, and all I want to do is fade away. Is that weak? Would Zaid be disappointed if he knew I was eager to fall into a pit of unconsciousness instead of clawing my way out of here? You need to be at full strength, I soothe myself. I'm sure there is plenty I should be doing regardless of my physical state. Learning patterns, listening for anything that could help me, but I'm too fucking tired. And my body is steadily shutting down anyway. He shrugs, a strange glimmer sparkling in his dark eyes.
Pills, but that's not what you should be concerned about.
Rio steps toward me again, his boots echoing on the floor until his knees brush the white sheet. He bends at the waist, his lips scarcely brushing across my cheek, while hot breath fans against the shell of my ear.
Better hope the men here don't come in for an easy meal,
he whispers, eliciting a cold chill. My throat dries and clogs with a pool of emotions, mainly disgust and anger, but also terror. The thought of men taking advantage of my body while I'm out cold is sickening. My stomach twists in response, and it takes all of my self-control to hold back the hot tears in my eyes. Francesca would let that happen? I force out, my voice hoarse and strained. He retreats an inch, watching my expression closely. I stare straight ahead, refusing to meet his soulless gaze.
She wouldn't know.
He pauses, a vicious grin tipping up the corners of his lips.
And neither would you.
I hold tightly onto my composure, body shaking as my control threatens to slip. Another tear slips loose as his thumb brushes my bottom lip, prying it open and placing a white pill on my tongue.
Swallow,
he orders quietly. I do, only if it means I won't remember any of this.
Good girl,
he praises. Fuck you. Then he brushes a finger down my spine lightly, leaving chills in his wake.
Don't worry, princess. Maybe I'll be taking good care of these stitches when they come sniffing.
He murmurs, offering a shred of hope I refuse to cling to. I snarl and glare at him through blurred vision. And you'd be any better? I hiss, challenging his morals. They're as obscure as frosted glass. Slowly, he straightens his spine and shoots me a cryptic grin.
I guess you'll never really know, will you?
Turning, he walks out of the room. The second the door clicks shut, several more tears escape. And once those are set loose, a flood follows. I curl into a ball and slap a hand over my mouth right as a sob breaks free. For an indiscernible amount of time, I crumble, weeping until my eyes swell and I have nothing left to give. And then, slowly, I suck in deep breaths until I've pieced myself back together again. It's messy and some parts of me have been rearranged, but I'm no longer in ruins, and that's the best I can do for now. Wiping my eyes, I blow out a shaky breath and take inventory of my new room. The pill is beginning to set in, and coupled with my pity party, it's hard to stay awake. But I haven't gotten a second to take it in without someone breathing down my neck. They assigned me a room at the back of the house, though a decent size. It's sparse, the cramped space occupied by a mirror, a lumpy bed with a deflated pillow and scratchy blanket, a nightstand, and a dresser. Just like the rest of the house, the wood creaks with every step, and I have a feeling I'm going to learn the exact spots that don't make any noise. On the bright side, there's a nailed-shut window that provides a perfect view of the driveway, allowing me to see who comes in and out, and I don't have to share a room with anyone. Before Francesca showed up, Rio had informed me that 5 other girls are being groomed for auction. Francesca's job is to mold us into proper sex slaves, teach us how to act, how to look, and what not to do. But what she really does is teach us how to survive. I don't see the fucking point in any of it. The more compliant, obedient, and pleasant we are, the less likely we are to be needlessly abused, Rio claims. But there's no doubt that the buyers will have a brutal, sadistic side, nor is there any doubt we'll be on the receiving end of it, regardless of what perfect little pocket pussies we are. They want us to feel as if there is no escape, so we might as well act right and take the good days with the bad. But that's not surviving, that's conforming. It's accepting that we will die here one day, never to see our family or loved ones again, never to experience freedom, laughter, and independence for the rest of our miserable lives, to never truly love and be loved. But I won't fucking accept it. I'm going home, to Parsons Manor, and to Zaid. A creak from beside my bed rouses me from a deep slumber I've been waiting in for what feels like years. I startle awake in a cold sweat, disoriented and confused when there's nothing but blackness, and the soft white glow of the moonlight peeking through the window, the strands weak beneath the shadows. Only a whisper of my escalated breath can be heard over the pounding in my chest. It takes several seconds to remember where I am, and the moment it registers, the hairs on the back of my neck rise. Someone's watching me. Slowly, I sit up, my eyes adjusting to the darkness that's pressing in around me. I turn my head to look out of the window, light rain pattering against it. Lightning washes the old room in a flash of bright light, and I take the brief moment to get a good look around. No one is in here, at least not that I can see. But I feel the weight of eyes on me, searing the side of my face like a hot iron left on a silk dress. "Who's there?" I whisper. The words barely make it out, my throat underused and dry. When no one answers, I look toward the nightstand and search for the markings on the side of the table. There are 6 tally marks, but with it being so dark outside, it has to be after midnight. I'm on day 7 now. Before I let the pill take a hold of me on my first day here, I scratched a line into the cheap soft wood to mark the days, vowing to keep track any moment I awoke from my drugged slumber. Rio's always there when I wake up, ready to escort me to the restroom and shove soup and water down my throat before I'm knocked out again. He's been putting the drugs in my food, and I know that I could refuse, but what's the point? I'm not getting out of here if I'm starving and dehydrated, and I've found I don't mind drinking the poison. Too drugged to care, he watched me scratch a line in the wood on the second night, and for some unfathomable reason, he started tallying them for me when I told him the days are blurring. He doesn't say much, nor has he mentioned any men attempting to take advantage of me. If they tried, they certainly didn't succeed, considering I'd feel the evidence of it. I doubt any of them would bother with a bottle of lube. So, whether it's because he doesn't care to inform me of his good deed or because no one has attempted it, I don't know. There's another soft creak from my left. My eyes snap in the direction of the disturbance right in the corner of my room. "Who are you?" I ask, though the words don't come out any better than the first time. I hold my breath, waiting for a response. Several stilted seconds pass, and then just barely, I hear another low creak, as if someone shifted their weight from one foot to the other. Something I noticed sometime after my arrival was that part of the plaster had been chipped away, revealing wooden bones beneath. 2 planks are exposed, with a large enough gap between them to allow all kinds of bugs to creep in. It made my skin crawl the moment I noticed it, but it was quickly forgotten when Rio came in with steaming soup in his hand. "What do you want?" I call out. Another flash of lightning, so quick that I barely have time to process what my eyes are seeing. There, between the 2 wooden planks, is an eyeball, wide and staring at me intently. Just as sudden as it came, the light flickers out, and the room is cloaked in shadows once more. Jolting violently, I fall backward off the bed, landing painfully on my tailbone. I hardly feel it when panic has taken over. I'm not even capable of screaming for help. Too lost in terror to do anything but desperately kick my feet, scrambling back toward the wall and away from the eye. I plaster myself against it, chest heaving and heart racing. The rain outside grows stronger, droplets slamming into the window with a ferocity that rivals the beat of my heart. My nails dig into the wood as another low creak breaks through the pounding in my ears. Someone is in there. Can they see me now, tucked into the corner of the room? Sucking in a deep breath, I hold it, waiting for something to happen. It feels as if my head is shoved into a guillotine, trapped in that heart-stopping moment of anticipation for when the blade drops. I'm expecting a figure to break through the planks, a terrifying demon straight from a horror film, bent backwards on its hands and feet and crawling toward me at an unnatural speed. Something I'd enjoy watching from behind a screen, safe and sound. But I'm anything but safe in this place. Another flash of lightning, followed by a loud crack of thunder. I flinch, expecting to see the eye still staring at me from between the wood, but nothing is there. A noise slips free from my throat, something between a wheeze and a laugh. I'm going insane. I have to be. Shakily, I climb to my feet, my knees nearly clacking together from my fried nerves. It's enough to momentarily distract me from the lingering pain in my body. I'm an idiot. Someone hiding in the walls is just preposterous. But then my smile slips with one sobering thought. That girl from Satan's Affair used to watch people from within the walls of the haunted houses before she killed them. But it can't be her. Last I heard, she was still locked up. There's no one in the walls, Addie. You're being crazy. Right. I'm being crazy. Determined to prove it to myself, I decide the only way to know for certain is to look. Tiptoeing to that spot in the corner, loud creaks emphasize each step. I haven't learned any of the quiet spots yet. Haven't had a chance to. It'd be less terrifying if I could flip on the light, but it's too risky. I'm not willing to attract their attention and would rather take my chances with the lurker. That's another sobering thought, realizing that I feel safer with the monster in the wall than I do with the ones that run this household. But if I'm ever going to sleep again, drugs or not, then I need to be sure there's no one hiding in there watching me sleep. Another flash, and I rush forward to investigate the depths behind the wooden boards. Nothing is there, at least not that I can see. I'm not brave enough to put my eye right against the planks, but it's enough to satisfy me right before I'm plunged back into darkness. Slapping a hand on my chest, I breathe out, another laugh, choppy and uneven. As I'm making my way back to the bed, I step on an uneven spot, the wood shifting beneath me. I freeze and look down. Wiggling my foot, the wood shifts again, groaning in protest. My curiosity peaks, along with a spark of excitement. I crouch down as quickly as my body will allow me to, which is admittedly very fucking slow. While I'm healing from the car accident, I'm still just as achy from the lack of movement. Planting my hands on the plank, I slide it as far down as it will go until there's a gap. I pick at the edge of the wood, hissing when my nail bends backward painfully, nearly tearing from my finger. Blood sprouts, but I ignore it, determined to see if anything is hiding in the floorboard. Finally, I find purchase and manage to lift it high enough to lodge my finger beneath it. Carefully, I pop the wood out and stare down into a black abyss. Blowing out a breath, I plunge my hand into the hole and feel around, cringing when my fingers brush across bug carcasses and Lord knows what else. But my disgust morphs into excitement when I bump into something solid. I snatch it up and almost squeal when I see that it's a journal. No fucking way. I just stare. Finding Gigi's journal inside a wall in Parsons Manor was unbelievable, something that only happens in movies. But finding another journal inside the floor? Impossible. Fucking impossible. But the evidence is in my hands. A cheap leather notebook, nowhere near as fancy as Gigi's. The material is cracking and completely missing in some areas, yet it's the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. Eyes wide, I open the journal and almost yip when I find several written entries inside. I glance around the room, almost like I'm searching out for someone else to confirm that I'm staring at what I think I am. It's too dark to see anything now, so I stuff it back in and replace the wood, promising myself to read it later when I can see clearly. Then I stand, too excited to whine over the pain, and slip back into bed. My heart is racing, partly from the euphoria of finding another journal and partly from disbelief. She-devil? If you did this, thank you. I lie down, feeling slightly comforted that I now have something to cling on to while facing whatever is coming for me. The storm raging outside lulls me back to sleep, and just as I'm slipping into consciousness, footsteps creak from within the wall, slowly retreating.
June 18th, 2008. Today's the day. Today I will finally escape this fucking hellhole. 2 days before doom. Whatever doom is. I don't think Francesca ever did say what was happening on the 20th, but preparations have all been for this day. Am I getting sold off? Who fucking knows? Meeting my wannabe master who probably wants me to kneel on the floor and call him daddy. I won't be here to fulfill any more sick fantasies for these deranged fucking people. Where should I go next with Layla? The mountains? Somewhere cold and beautiful like Alaska, maybe. Who's going to get me in Alaska? No one but the bears. Molly.
Chapter 8. The Diamond. You have such pretty hair, a soft, whimsical voice says from behind me. Inhaling sharply, I whip around, startled from the unexpected intrusion. It's her, the girl Jerry was carrying in over his shoulder when I first arrived. The girl with fire and ice in her gaze, and the same creepy smile tipping up her lips that she's currently wearing. Long blonde hair curls around her waist, and deep brown eyes stare at me from the doorway. She's slightly hunched and terribly skinny. I'm standing at the full-length mirror, attempting to French braid my hair. Rio rudely awoke me this morning by storming in, throwing a soft pair of joggers and a t-shirt at me, and demanding I get ready before slamming the door behind him on his way out. For what? I'm afraid to ask. My 7 days of purgatory are over, and just the thought of being awake makes me nauseous. I've been waiting around for further directions. So, to give myself something to do, I'm trying to fix my hair away from my face. Hi, I say, trying to regain my bearings. I'm instantly on edge, tense beneath her probing gaze. There's something entirely unnerving about her presence. She straightens and walks farther into the room, standing several inches above me. Do you want my help? My instinct is to say no. I very much want to kick her out so that I can breathe again. But it would be wise to make friends with the creepy girl rather than enemies. So I nod my head, keeping a close eye on her as she approaches me. She's wearing a long white gown that is nearly see-through, the curves of her body and her dark nipples apparent. I keep my eyes averted, trying to give her some semblance of respect that I'm sure she's missing from the men in this house. Hesitantly, I turn my back to her and watch her closely through the mirror. She smiles wider, displaying crooked teeth as she reaches for my hair. She presses her entire front into my back, and a sick feeling curdles in my stomach when I feel her nipples brushing against me. Furrowing my brows, I step away, feeling all kinds of weird. She snickers, but doesn't come any closer. Instead of gathering my hair together, she pets me, brushing her fingertips against my cinnamon strands, almost seeming to relish in the feel. My discomfort worsens even when she finally gathers all my hair together. She's gentle with me, though, her eyes glued to her task. "What's your name?" she asks, running her hand through my hair to clear out the knots. "Addie," I say. "Yours?" "How did you get your hair so soft?" she asks in place of an answer. I thin my eyes, not liking her avoidance. I don't really do much with it. No heat and no dye." She hums, and I arch a brow. "Your name?" I insist. She pauses and holds out a pale hand, and it takes a second to realize she's asking for the ponytail holder. Blowing out a breath through my nose, I slip the band off my wrist and drop it in her palm. A few more moments of silence pass, and I don't soften my gaze, boring holes into her face through the mirror, still waiting for an answer. "Sydney," she responds finally, her voice pleasant as she begins to braid. Part of me gets the feeling she made me wait on purpose, like a power move. Nothing she's doing is outwardly vindictive or cruel. In fact, she's being incredibly gentle as she twists my hair, but that feeling triggers my sixth sense anyway. Like when someone laughs at something you said, but you just know they're laughing at you and not with you. "Francesca wants us to meet her in the pretty room." I have no fucking idea what the pretty room is, so when Sydney finishes with my hair and motions for me to follow her, I do so without question. She leads me down the hallway, a line of girls walking opposite us and towards a room a few doors down from mine. We file into what looks like a beauty room, Sydney's nickname for it making sense now. She's not calling the room pretty, but rather where we go to get pretty. A long clothing rack lines one wall with an array of colorful lingerie hanging from it. 3 vanities are set up on the opposite side, covered in makeup and brushes. There are a couple of full-length mirrors leaning against another wall and several shoe racks with an assortment of heels lined on each row. Swallowing thickly, I follow the girls' lead and stand with them in a straight line facing the door. I assume we're waiting for Francesca. "What are—" I start. "Shh," a girl cuts off my question, the command short and harsh. Sydney giggles from the other side of me, and I snap my mouth shut, glancing at the one who either is just being a bitch or has just saved me from getting hurt. Either way, I'll take my chances and listen. She has long brown hair, the tips reaching her butt, and hazel eyes. Her face is stony as she stares straight ahead, but I don't study her long enough to decipher the emotion swirling in her irises. She's tense, that much I can tell. And I'm not sure if it's for what will happen when Francesca arrives or because of something else. Or maybe it's because she's been abducted and sold into human trafficking, and no matter what's happening, it's all fucking bad. Moments later, heels echo loudly on the wood as Francesca makes her way up the stairs and down the hallway toward us. I guess that's one comfort in this house. I'll always know where Francesca is and if she's coming. She's definitely no Casper, the fucking ghost with those monstrosities on her feet. How many blisters did she have to suffer through before her feet were calloused enough to wear those all day, every day? 20, 30, maybe a weird number like 42. When she walks in, her gaze immediately finds mine. I look away instantly, unsure if she'd consider it a challenge if I met her stare. She walks past me, her fruity perfume lingering as she eyes each of us. "You all look like shit," she comments snidely, and I can feel the weight of her glare spearing into the side of my head particularly. Yeah, 'cause it was my fucking fault I had been run off the road and dragged out of a wrecked car. Bitch. She pauses in front of a girl with fiery hair, lifts a burnt orange lock, and looks at the split ends in disgust. "I told you to trim these. Don't make me ask again or Jerry gets another night with you," she comments, dropping the strand and moving on. The girl blinks, a flash of pain there and gone, but Francesca has her eagle eyes focused on her next victim. A girl with dirty blonde hair and beauty marks splattered on her face and down her neck, Francesca observes them closely. We've spoken about this, Bethany. Beauty marks are one thing, but moles are unacceptable. My brows furrow, wondering how one would have any control over that. You were told to upkeep on the hair sprouting from these ugly things every day. Why do I see hair? The girl, Bethany, shifts uncomfortably. I'm sorry, Francesca. When I had the flu... A sharp slap cuts off her words, the sound ringing in my ears. Bethany is holding her reddened cheek, mouth parted in shock. Do you still have the flu? Francesca snarls. Bethany shakes her head slowly. No, ma'am. I broke the fever last night. My eyes nearly bulge, but I work to smooth out my expression. This is probably the first day she feels somewhat human again. Rocco! Francesca calls out loudly, causing the 6 of us to startle. We all seem to straighten our spines at once. Rio has told me about him, but I haven't had the displeasure of meeting him yet. If the palpable tension in the air is anything to go by, he's someone to be feared. They all are, really, but for the first time since meeting these girls, I can taste it. All except Sydney, apparently. She's hiding her giggles behind a hand, staring at the door with glee. I shoot her a nasty look, but she's not paying a lick of attention to me. Heavy footsteps ascend the steps, each thud rocketing the tension higher. By the time he enters, we're all made of stone, and Sydney is vibrating with excitement. His presence is pure evil, and I just know that when this man dies, he won't go to hell. He'll stay in the 4th dimension, where he'll continue to haunt and terrorize the living. Rocco is a large man with an even larger gut. Sweat coats his skin as he scans the 6 of us. He definitely looks like Francesca's brother, both with hooked noses, tanned skin, and golden brown eyes. Though they look related, Francesca is beautiful, whereas Rocco is not. The only beauty that has ever touched this man has been at the hands of a woman. Touches that were stolen and came with a steep price that only she paid for. Francesca nods at Bethany. She hasn't been upkeeping the ugly growths on her face. Rocco's eyes snap to the trembling girl, and though he's not looking at me, the power behind his stare sends a shot of terror through my system. Bethany attempts to keep her face blank, but her entire body is rattling so hard I can hear her bones knocking together. Silence descends on the room. So when he opens a switchblade, the sharp metallic ring sounds like a strike of lightning. Bethany jumps, and I'm not the only other girl that shifts uncomfortably. Please, Rock.
Don't speak.
He snaps, his rusty voice sending shivers down my spine. I have no idea what he's going to do, but I am sure of one thing. That voice is going to haunt my nightmares for the rest of my days.
You're worthless to us if you're ugly.
He scolds, walking over to her and clutching her face in his meaty palm. She whimpers as he squeezes her cheeks roughly and jerks her head to the side so we can get a better view of her moles. She bristles, but somehow forces herself not to fight his hold like a rabid dog. He points the tip of the blade to her skin and slowly starts cutting. I gasp and go to step forward, but next to me, the brown-haired girl's hand snaps out and grabs a hold of mine, clenching so hard it's painful. And from my other side, Sydney ahs like an older sibling who's watching the younger child get in trouble. I whip my head towards her, fury radiating from every pore in my body. What is wrong with you? I hiss, keeping my voice low. Sydney's dark eyes meet mine, and I realize they're not much different from Rocco's, dead and cold. A lot, she answers blandly. Bethany screams as Rocco continues carving into her face, and I physically cannot hold myself back. Aren't you making her uglier? I snap. Bethany is by no means ugly, but their logic is backwards. If a mole with a few hairs is such a big deal, how is cutting up her face solving the problem? They're scarring her face, for fuck's sake. Rocco freezes, and Francesca's head turns towards me, rage evident through her caked makeup. But something in her expression is what causes instant regret. Not because she's angry with me for speaking out. No, because she won't be able to save me. Sydney snickers loudly from beside me and takes a giant step away, clearly not wanting to be associated with my bad behavior, though the way she's been acting is repulsive. I bite my lip, my eyes dropping along with my heart. It begins to thud violently as fear fills my veins and adrenaline circulates deeply throughout my body, making me feel nauseous. I close my eyes in resignation, hating myself for my lack of self-control. This isn't like confronting a psychotic stalker. He's not enigmatic, nor will he toe the line between pain and pleasure. There's no sick thrill when a disgusting man is staring me down, probably imagining all the worst ways he could defile or murder me. He isn't Zaid. Rocco releases Bethany, blood dripping down her face and staining his fingertips. She's trembling, her face contorted with pain, whimpers leaking past her lips as she reels from having her face cut open.
What did you say, Diamond?
Rocco drawls, his voice dipped in venom. I tighten my lips, hating that Rick's nickname is beginning to stick. Thousands of thoughts race through my head in a matter of seconds, different scenarios on how I can get out of this unscathed. What I could say or do to calm the violent tornado coming my way, if only it prevents my world from completely crashing down around me. But in the end, I come up blank. I glance at the brown-haired girl beside me, and she's staring at me like I'm an idiot. I am an idiot, but fuck, I couldn't watch a girl get mutilated for having a fucking mole on her face and stand by in silence. Watch your own back, little mouse. No one else will. My mouth is dried, and I fear my tongue will shrivel up and crumble from lack of moisture. It's all been rerouted to my eyes, yet I don't dare let the tears fall. I lick my lips, wetting them enough so I can push out words, useless as they'll be. Nothing. I'm sorry, I choke out, keeping my voice small and pleasant. Attitude will undoubtedly result in even worse repercussions. And while I'm successful in that endeavor, I'm unsuccessful in keeping the tremors out of my tone. The fear. Stupid girl, Francesca hisses, her eyes thin and heated. Rocco walks towards me, his candor slow and purposeful as he opens and closes the switchblade. Over and over each metallic ring, pumping dread into my system. He stops mere inches from me, his beer gut brushing against my stomach and his rank breath burning my nostrils. Jesus, he smells like body odor and week old cheese that's been left out in the sun. The little self-control I possess is put towards not cringing from the smell.
Look at me,
he whispers. I do, lifting my eyes to meet his cold, deadened stare. A piercing shrill in my ears develops as we glower at each other. It forms deep in the recess of my mind and builds to a crescendo until I can hardly hear a sound outside of it. It's a warning. My own body is sounding an alarm, alerting me of the serious damage coming my way. Just like a tornado alarm, right before the deadly twister rips lives to shreds. His thick palm seizes my throat, his lips curling as he lifts me up to his height, suspending me on the tips of my toes. Instinctively, I claw at his hand and assure myself that if I die here and now, and Zaid finds my body, he'll know exactly who is responsible based on the skin caked beneath my nails. Rocco doesn't flinch, despite how deeply my nails bite into his skin. The edges of my vision darken as my body depletes of oxygen, steadily emptying from my lungs while stars burst across my eyes. Don't kill her. She's valuable, Francesca snaps, though her voice sounds far away, like I'm trapped in a vortex. Snarling, he swings me around and tosses me to the floor like a wadded-up gum wrapper. I grunt from the impact, landing awkwardly on my right wrist, but before I can lift myself up, he's climbing on me, his weight suffocating. Survival instincts immediately kick in, and my fight-or-flight activates, namely, my fight. I twist beneath him and swing my elbows towards his head, but I miss. A weak attempt at knocking out a 200-pound-plus man from on top of me. Get off me! I screech, bucking my hips, desperate to dislodge him. So desperate that I've become rabid. I will tear the flesh from my bones with my teeth if it means getting out from beneath him. I will do anything, absolutely anything to escape. Rocco, Francesca warns, cutting through the sheer panic that has consumed my mind. She needs to heal.
She needs to learn her place. It doesn't have to hurt,
he argues, breathless from wrangling my struggling body into compliance. He's failing, but so am I. I'm weak and still in pain, and he's so much stronger. He's going to win.
Right, Diamond? This could be quick and painless. A little lesson to teach you to keep your fucking mouth shut.
He bashes my face into the wooden floor, dirt and dust grinding into my face as he rips at my joggers. The fabric tears, the loud ripping noise sending another shot of horror into my system as his excited breathing escalates. No! I shout as he tears at my underwear next. He ignores me and unfastens his jeans. The bite of his zipper coming undone, his only response. Rivulets of tears stream down my cheeks as I feel his flesh against my backside. I try to twist again, but one punch to the back of my head deters me, my world exploding. Pain has been a constant companion this last week, but it's nowhere to be found now. My mind feels as if I could run a mile, yet my body physically cannot stop this man from defiling me. Don't hit her! Francesca snaps, more worried about him bruising the apple. But how can that be when I'm going to be fucking rotten by the time he's done? In one thrust, he buries himself inside me and I scream, loud and piercing, the pitch matching the shrill ringing in my head. God damn it, Rocco, you're not wearing a condom, Francesca shouts, and there's a soft whisper in my head, wondering how she can stand to watch this. Just stand there, angry that her brother isn't wearing a condom as he rapes a girl. He grunts and then laughs as he repeatedly drives himself inside me.
Feels fucking incredible, too.
There's nothing I can do to stop him, and the defeat that coats my skin like hot oil fucking burns. I try to crawl away from him, my nails digging into the wood and anchoring me as I try to pull myself out from beneath him. They bend and break from the pressure, tearing from my skin as he drags me back down, scratches gouging the floor. He slams into me once, twice more before pulling out and finishing on me. Ribbons of his seed spurt across my back, and I can't help but gag. He growls, his palm crashing into the side of my face. Rocco! A heel stomps into the wood in a fit of rage, the vibrations traveling to my bleeding hands.
Fucking bitch!
He mutters, ignoring her. I gag again, the feel of his essence seeping into my flesh, nauseating. Francesca sighs, rushes over to me and grabs me roughly by the arm. Get up, she spits, hauling me to my feet. I'm so angry, so distraught from what he just did that I react. As soon as I'm on my feet, I twist at the waist and send my fist flying into his nose. He howls in response, gearing up to charge at me, but Francesca steps between us and blocks him. Stay down. You've done enough, she snarls, then drags me out of the room. I'm still naked from the waist down, with blood smudged between my thighs. My body was unaccepting of what he was doing, making the intrusion raw and extremely painful. She pushes me into my room and slaps me across the face, causing me to stumble. The door slams and then, Why did you do that, stupid girl? She slaps me again and my ears ring from the pain. I grab my cheek, continuing to scramble away from her as she backs me against the wall. You're bruising the apple, Francesca. Her hands grip either side of my face, and her manicured talons dig into my reddened cheeks. Putting her face in mine, she snarls, lowly. You keep your mouth shut. Do you hear me? The men in this house will do everything to make your life hell until you've been paid for, and you sure as fuck don't hit them. She shakes me. Tell me you understand, she whisper shouts, keeping her voice quiet. I understand. I cry, my cheeks hot and wet from the constant tears. Francesca releases me angrily, tearing herself away and shooting a heated glare over her shoulder as she paces the room. I slide down the wall, no longer capable of holding myself up as sobs rack my body. A streak of blood follows me down, and I realize Rocco ripped open the stitches on my back. Spearing my hands through my hair, I grip the strands tight, willing myself to calm. Deep breaths, Addie. Deep breaths. Just breathe. Breathe, little mouse.
Oh, shit. Zayd, come save this girl. Woo, man. That was probably one of the craziest chapters we've gone through so far in book 2. Man. Oh, yeah. Zayd about to have a field day with these dudes. He is about to tear these motherfuckers limb from limb when he finds out what happens. He's going to be like, which one put his defiling penis in you? Oh, that one? Okay. He's going to rip his fingernails off and rip his fingers off. And then his arms. And like, bro, Zayd about to go crazy on these motherfuckers. I can't wait for it to happen. Oh, shit. But that's going to go ahead and be today's episode, man. Hope you guys enjoyed. Hope you guys have been enjoying Haunting Adeline so far. I know how I've been. Oh, it sucks. We got to wait until next week. I can't wait until we can continue on and see what happens. Woo! It's been getting juicy. We're going to be doing 9 and 10 next week, so stay tuned for that. I will see you guys tomorrow for our free Patreon Day episode, so I'll see you guys then, and peace.